What's up, everybody? What's up?
Hello.
People filing in up in here. Let's see what's going on with the community. The community. All right.
I hate that Skype changed it to where you can't move people around and stuff.
I know.
You know?
What's up with that?
I gotta stare at my stupid face the whole time.
Well.
Well.
We have to. Cool. All right, let me send this out to my one friend on Facebook real quick, and who would be interested in watching this, and that's you. So you know.
Me, I'm here.
All right, who's in here? We got Nick, Matthew, got that Matt Milstead guy. We got Cristobal. Yep. We got Jeff. Did Jeff talk to you, by the way, about camp yet? About caravanning?
Yeah, about like driving and stuff.
Yeah, a little caravan action.
Caravanning. Yep.
Yeah. Come on down here and we'll load him up.
His code name is going to be Kirk, and mine is going to be Picard.
Oh. I thought you were going to be Picard and he is going to be number one.
Yeah, but we're both captaining our own ships.
Oh.
You know.
Okay.
So.
Number one. I order you to take a number two.
Stop.
What is that from?
That's from Beavis and Butthead.
Is it?
It is from Beavis and Butthead. I
can't even remember.
From back when we were growing up.
Wow. By the way, Picard season 3 is awesome.
What?
You need Picard season 3.
I know,
you have to watch it.
I need to download.
You're gonna get spoilers if you don't.
It's so funny because like I will start a show and I will be really into it, and then I will stop watching it for no reason. For no reason other than the fact that like I just get busy. Like what is it? People of the State or something. The one with the Ukrainian president Zelensky. You know?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. It's such a good show, and I literally haven't watched the last 2 episodes. You know. And then me and my wife have been watching. What is it? Shrinked, or something like that, on Apple TV. Really good. Harrison Ford, Jason Segel. Love it. Just haven't finished it. The joy of having children.
Not enough hours in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Matthew said, best season yet, Picard. You're gonna get so many spoilers if you don't hurry up. So
Dude,
good.
Don't do that to me.
So good. All right, I think we're ready to do a little shoe. So
really good shoe.
Oh, and Succession is back. Didn't get to watch it last night. No spoilers. All right.
I'm gonna spoil it for you if you spoil. Anyway. All right.
Well,
let's do a show.
Hurry. All right, let's do it.
We got a lot to do.
I know. Here we go. What's up and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt. Joining us today is the very talented, our good friend, Ms. Collin Leix.
Hey, so happy to be here.
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, artist suggestions, show topic ideas. We're on mograph.com. If you want to check us out there, you can hit us up if you want to maybe join us on the Slack. There's a lot of people in the Slack, so come join us there. If you want to hang out on video Discord with us all day, you can do that too. Just come on in. Just ask us for a little invite. We're also selling courses on our site, mograph.com/classes, if you want to check that out. You've also got mograph.com/TV. Turn it on. Yank the knob off. Matt's watching it right now. You can watch Mograph 24/7.
I've had it on this whole time. I didn't turn it on right before the show.
Yeah, you can learn from Chris Schmidt. You can learn from all the Maxon peeps. You can watch all sorts of shows, including ours. It's on there sometimes. It's live on there right now. How about that? And that's about it for my spiel. So I'm going to get into the stuff of the week, which is number one.
Number one.
Number one.
Sorry.
Number one. Camp updates. Let's
Yes.
talk about camp updates.
There are
there's a
so
lot.
many camp updates. Dave,
Not
I
that
don't know
many.
If you
There's a
can
little
go to
bit.
campmograph.com.
Oh, sure, I can do that.
Bring it up and maybe go over to the fireside chats.
Absolutely,
Because we are
I can.
super, super excited. We just added our third and final fireside chat, Elise Kelly.
Bam.
Super excited to have her on board. She is the creative director and founder of Neon Zoo. She's done a ton of great work and won some really awesome awards. So we're super excited to have her sit down and talk to everyone. It's going to be an awesome fireside chat. We also have added two more workshops.
Are they in here? Are they posted already?
Yeah, they are.
Okay,
You
cool.
can go down.
I haven't been on the site. Which ones are you talking about?
Mitch Monson and Natasha Wozniak. Super excited to add them on board. Natasha is going to be doing some pewter metallurgy, I think is how you pronounce it. We're basically going to be creating some cool stuff in pewter. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then Mitch Monson is going to be doing a workshop on pitching, which I think it's something. Basically, anytime we bring on a workshop instructor, it's because I want to do that. I want to teach. I want to learn. So I'm super excited to have both of them on board. This is going to be a camp filled with stuff that I want to do. So very exciting.
Well, we were talking about this before the
and-
show because there are these like different things like pewter, and you've got like cosmic photography, and you've got 3D printing, but these are all Mographers who do this stuff.
Yes.
Like that's what's so cool about it, you know?
It's very, very cool. Yeah. And so one last thing, camp updates. We added in, we talked to the camp. We knew there's a lot of demand for tickets. There always is, you know, for the past few years. So we wanted to make sure, you know, that everyone was able to come in some way, form, or fashion. So we talked to the camp about camping tickets, like adding some tent tickets.
Tenting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, this will be good for like maybe people who are local or, you know, people who don't necessarily want to bunk in a cabin who want to camp anyway. So we decided to add some camp tent tickets as well. It will not have, you know, it's basically you bring your own tent. You pitch a tent there, and then you get to enjoy all the fun festivities and everything. Really, the only difference between the cabin ticket and the tent ticket is, you know, you're bringing your own place to sleep, which we did discount it about $100 for the ticket, so it's $9.99 for those. But you know, bathrooms are all communal, shared anyway, so you won't have to worry about any of that. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I am joining the tenting crew, so, you know, you'll get to hang out with me.
That's cool.
And listen to me snore, which will be great. So I'm going to bring one of those big bell dome tents. It's going to be killer. I'm super excited about it.
Dome tents.
And then, let's see, was there anything else?
Heck yes, there is. There's the video.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was a new video. We got Mr. Puppet Guy, who I don't think we've named quite yet. Mark has a name for him, I think, but I don't know if that's official yet.
Sure, I say make it canon, right? Why not?
What's his name again? What did he call him?
I don't know.
Something weed related. I don't know.
Dank McCloudy or something.
Something
I don't know.
like that. Dank McCloudy pants.
Buzz
McKeef pants. I don't know.
I don't remember what it was.
He'll put it in the thing here.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and watch his latest video about ticket sales. Here it is.
The time has come to secure your boarding pass for Camp Mograph. Tickets go on sale at noon Eastern Time, April 20th. Set an alarm and head over to campmograph.com. These tickets are like shooting stars. They'll go fast. But don't panic. Our state-of-the-art system will give you plenty of time to check out. Make sure to enter your camper information correctly so we can prepare for your arrival. Your creativity will soar to new heights at Camp Mograph. But please leave the moonwalking to us professionals. Over and out!
So there it is. There it is.
Yay!
And if you were watching closely, you might see a couple clues to some things. And unfortunately, people have already found those clues, so it's too late. So,
Congratulations to Francisco
Yes.
for finding the hidden
cabin
pre-sale ticket.
Yep, there was one available.
There was one.
And it wasn't easy. I didn't know. Oh, Julie says Captain Kush. Oh, and
Captain
Mark put
Kush,
it in.
that's
Mark
what it
put it
was,
in.
yeah.
Captain Kush. I don't know about that. I don't know. We'll focus group that and get back to you. There was the hidden cabin, and we had kind of a little not a riddle, but just kind of a puzzle to solve.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know. We kind of made it not too hard, but not too difficult, because we didn't know if anyone was going to pick up on it. But Francisco found the ticket in 6 hours of posting the video, so congrats. You don't have to worry about scrambling for a ticket next week. So
He doesn't, yeah. So for those who are unaware, who are just now listening, crawling out from under your rock, tickets go on sale April 20th at 12 Eastern. So make sure you are ready to go. You know which ticket you want. There's 3 different options. You can check out campmograph.com to see, but just make sure that you are ready to go, because they'll go quick.
Buzz McBuzzed.
Buzz.
It was an Easter egg on Easter. See?
Yeah.
See what we did there? The other thing we wanted to talk about is NAB. NAB is coming up quick for us, especially. We are leaving tomorrow to go start setting up for Sunday. So make sure that you have your tickets for everything. I know that technically the tickets for the karaoke are sold out right now. We have kind of a buffer, because I didn't even reserve myself a ticket and stuff. But I think we're going to be okay with that. If there's an issue, just come talk to us. We can probably work it out. The main thing is that we have a capacity at the karaoke place. But I don't think everybody's going to be like there the whole time, So I think we'll be okay. So just come find us at NEB. Also, don't forget that... did I say Tuesday? That's Monday.
Dave,
that's Monday.
I will just
might
promise
notice.
that you can have one, and then he'll get mad at me.
No, we have to make sure, because if we have 200 people show up, they're going to be kind of mad at us. So that is Monday. Tuesday's the Maxon Pinball event. Make sure that you get your wristband at the Maxon booth. Sunday, the first night, is the Mograph meetup. So make sure you go to mographmeetup.com for that. Then I think that's it for NAB. Just come find us. Get on the Slack. We're everywhere all the time. We're just hanging out and doing stuff. Don't be afraid to hit us up and be like, where are you at? Or other people at NAB. Then we've got, after that, we come back and we scramble and we get ready for Dat Tour, though.
Dat Tour.
Dat Tour is coming to a lot of cities. The only ones that you can buy a ticket for right now is Dallas. The web address for that is gotodat.com. It's not dat.com. It's gotodat.com.
Yes.
So if you go there, you're going to be able to get information as it comes out about the event. If you would like to sign up for the little newsletter thingy so that we can send stuff to you when there's more info, like when we release more tickets for other events that are coming up. You can see there's a ton of cities that we're coming to. The tickets right now are available for Dallas. You can see all the people coming. EJ, Chris, and Winbush are going to be the staples of the event, with Matthias emceeing that part of the event in the first section of the event. Then we're going to have a panel discussion that doubles as the podcast for the week. In Dallas, it's going to be Alex Parker, Barton Damer, Gustav, Sasha, Mark, Fancher, Ryan Talbot, Travis Ragsdale, and us will be there. Sorry, I'm trying to go fast because I really want to get to Collin and do our show. So make sure you get tickets for that. Anything else? Anything else we want to talk about?
The tickets are $20. They at least for this event, they will include your parking pass, because you'll need a parking pass for it. And for those who do not have a correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. I believe it does come with a...
Comes with a parking pass. We will email you your parking pass before the event.
Your ticket, does it include... Is it the 3-month trial of Maxon 1, I believe?
Yes,
for
I'll read
new
you.
customers
I will
only.
read you the
Sorry.
copy,
Yes.
which is each attendee will receive a free 90-day license of Maxon One, which includes Cinema 4D, Forger, ZBrush, Redshift, and Red Giant. Asterisk. You must register and attend the event in order to receive attendance benefits. Maxon One license is valid on new subscriptions only. Redemption requires a credit card on file for auto renewal, which may be canceled before the 90 days is up. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary. I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. So there you go.
So cool benefits for those who, may not be in the Maxon ecosphere, who want to come and, it's a pretty good deal right there.
Oh, also, we should probably thank our sponsors, Dell Technologies, Render, NVIDIA, and Toolfarm.
And you know what? I totally didn't thank the sponsors for Camp Mograph.
We got more sponsors.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Keeping
right
Collin
now.
waiting here. All right, let's do
sorry.
it. Let's do it.
Big shout out to our camp sponsors as well. Our global sponsor, Otoy, super excited to have them on board. Our two village sponsors, Maxon and Spilt. And then our integration gold sponsor, Grayscale Gorilla. Super excited to have them on board. Thank you to all of our sponsors for all the events and things that we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. And Collin, we're hoping that you could possibly join us if you come to Half Res, which is, I think, September 8th. Don't quote me on that.
September 8th, yes.
But the DAT tour will be in the same location morning of, and then the celebration portion will be Half Res. So, we'll get some fun local Chicago peeps and maybe not local but close by peeps like you to come and hang out, hopefully, and talk about stuff and things.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it'll be great. So, wow, that was a long intro segment.
Thank you for bearing with us.
Yes.
We had a lot of laundry to clear out.
Yes. Especially because next week we're not going to have a show because we're going to be doing NAB. So we wanted to make sure everybody was aware of what was coming up before all the madness of like Camp Mograph ticket sales and everything happens. We will be the day we come back from NAB is the day tickets go on sale. So we had to delay our flight that day so we could be around for ticket sales in case the website decides to be funky, So, anywho, let's move on to you, Collin, and let's talk about what you've been up to since you were on the show last. We won't go into your backstory. People can go listen to the previous episode if they want to hear that. We want to know what you're doing now.
Yeah, when I looked back to the other episode and saw it was 2020, I couldn't believe it.
Right?
No.
Yeah, that was wild. Since then, I had a baby.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. He'll be 2 in May. So the whole world of parenting and still, trying to be an artist and everything, that's taken up a lot of my brain space.
As it does.
Yes, as it does, as nature intends.
Miss Rachel kind of soaks in,
Oh, yeah, she's like my best friend now.
Right.
Are you working from home or are you working in the studio?
I'm working from home Monday and Friday.
Cool.
And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday going into Detroit.
Neat.
Yeah, I guess, the biggest change, I have some other other projects, but the biggest thing that maybe people have heard about is Gunner being acquired by Duolingo.
Yeah.
So now I work for the Big Green Owl.
Right.
Yeah, I actually have slippers on right now that we all got.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, yes.
Literally, as my son says, owl
fancy.
shoes.
Ow.
Owl shoes.
Owl shoes.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so that's been wild. That was basically the talks were rumbling around last summer, but Duolingo had been our main client through the pandemic. So that became kind of like a love affair that we had with them. They were just so wonderful to work with. So yeah, they kept coming back to us being like, what if we could just put a ring on it, Yeah. They were either they needed to up the amount of animation that was happening in the app. They're just doing all kinds of experimental things. And they said, we love working with you, but we need to lock it in. So it's either you guys or we're going to have to just hire a bunch of other animators and not work with you anymore. So it was about, last fall that we were able to announce it. So that was wild. So we're kind of in our second quarter, third quarter. I think in quarters now, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Because I'm a corporate lady.
Right.
Yeah, we started in October, so it's been a minute, and we're finally kind of getting used to it. But everybody who was at Gunner came over. So we had updated a building. We actually like renovated a new space.
That's cool.
And that's the same. And yeah, so a lot of it feels the same. A lot of it feels different.
How do you how do you go through that integration process? Like, how many people were there before this happened?
At Gunner or Duolingo?
At Gunner.
I think about 10 artists.
Okay. And so did
And
that
and two or three producers.
Oh, okay. So you had a pretty big team, and when you do that, like, do you just say, okay, no, we're dedicated fully to you guys now, or do you keep the clients you had? How does that part work?
Yeah.
Actually, we talked about all kinds of different situations like that. Oh, you mean sort of like when we decided to make the switch?
Yeah.
Like wrapping up other clients?
Yeah. Do you say, sorry, we're not available anymore at all? Or do you say, we're still going to work with you? Like, is that supplemental income for Duolingo, or do they just go away?
We did talk about that model, but we ended up deciding to just make a clean cut.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was a while where we thought we were still going to be Gunner with the G hand, but sort of inside of Duolingo. And the way I was describing that was almost like, like the Sephoras that are in J.C. Penney's.
Yes.
Right.
Or Kohl's.
But like, I think it was just from their end, it was just really confusing and like sets a weird precedent for other branches, other areas of the company. It just caused a lot of confusion, and it would have been hard to sort of, I don't know, explain to other people.
Right.
And make it work on a big scale.
So when that happened, did you end up bringing more people on? Did you just stay where you are for the time being, or did you have to scale up?
We didn't really have to scale up because in Pittsburgh, where Duolingo's headquarters are, they had another like 10, 15 artists. They just added a bunch of people too.
Okay.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
but
so
were
it's
they
a really
like
similar number.
Sorry, were they print artists, web artists, or were they motion graphics already?
They're animators. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Wow.
And because they were hired directly to Duolingo, they are more character-based people. Really talented people over there that we had sort of gotten to know. But when we first started working with Duolingo, there were 2 animators for this whole app. It's like the #1 language learning app in the world. And there were so many places they wanted to use animation, and it was 2 guys holding up, the project. They did amazing things. But yeah, the team grew a lot. And so now, we have these sort of 2 teams. We go to Pittsburgh a lot, and people are starting to come to Detroit more often. We went to Cancun together. Everybody at Duolingo goes to Cancun every year.
That's awesome.
So it's a bonding experience.
Yeah, of course.
But we have to get to know people,
And do you have to get to know the languages? That's the question. You're digging
do
in
they
the app now?
require you to, do your Duolingo for the day?
Right.
That's funny. It's not a requirement. But it's encouraged. We realized like the people who don't really do it are actually a little more out of the loop with the way that motion works in the app. So yeah, there's people keep their streaks up, try to like, it's kind of just a fun cultural thing. There's little incentives and stuff, but it's not necessarily required.
The people who are keeping their streaks up are hardcore too.
Yeah.
There's some hardcore users out there.
I saw this TikTok. It was on New Year's Day or something like that, where they were doing the countdown, right? And they reached midnight, and they're like, "Happy New Year!" And then someone said, "I forgot to do my Duolingo."
Yes, I saw that.
Oh no! Hopefully
good.
there's a streak freeze that you can use if you skip a day.
Right.
I've done that before too.
I think so Duolingo, I always really enjoyed it when I first was introduced it, but I kind of stepped away from it from a little while. When I got back on TikTok, I will tell you, the people doing the marketing for TikTok with Duolingo are amazing. Like
Yeah.
They're hilarious.
I can't even believe, and some of the stuff they do, like the Scrub Daddy grouping together, or what they did. That was pretty wild.
I didn't see that.
Pretty fun.
What is that about?
There's this whole backstory too about Duo. Well, we have a costume of the actual owl that people go around in it. I think one magical day, somebody twerked in it, and it looked really funny. And it's just kind of taken off. Yeah, that marketing team is hilarious. Did you guys see the April Fool's?
No.
I didn't.
What was it?
Oh my gosh. They made a trailer, and I think we put it out on like March 28th, that looked like a dating show that we made with
Yes,
Peacock.
I did. I did see that. Yeah. And you got like some like famous person or something.
Francesca.
Yeah, Francesca.
Yes.
I don't know who that is. I've just heard people say I would watch that if it was actually Francesca.
I know. Yeah, she's kind of like, she's actually on a lot of the dating shows on Netflix and stuff. So yeah, it looks real. I mean, we were surprised. They even joke about pushing somebody off a balcony, and everyone still is like, "Is this real? I'd watch this." Which
funny.
I think it's a great show though, because as a 90 Day Fiancé fan, I'm sorry, I am. So much of what's hilarious about that show is like things falling through the cracks, like linguistically.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting material there. It's like cross-cultural spaces. So yeah,
That's fun.
They're a great team.
Do y'all have any input into some of the marketing stuff, or is a lot of what you're doing app-based?
That's a good question. Yeah, marketing would be separate. It's so interesting coming into an app like this and seeing how an app works from the inside out. The animation team gets requests from other parts of the company. So sometimes there are requests for marketing, but yeah, the TikTok is kind of a separate thing. And it's funny too, because
There it is.
Yep. So we'll see Francesca here in a second. I think her face made it really feel real. Well, other parts of her too.
I just love that.
So everyone speaks a different language.
Uh-huh.
That's the gag.
Okay, I like that. That's great.
Yeah. And so she has to like learn French to be able to like speak to her boyfriend or whatever.
Oh, that's funny.
And actually we got NBC to work with us, Peacock. You see their name on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, they're gonna take us down for copyright infringement.
They
right,
probably
if we're
will,
showing
yeah.
This. Yeah.
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 So it is fun to work with a company that has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's not a big company in terms of the tech world, but it is really big compared to like, I don't know, studios. Gunner was like under 15 people and Duolingo's over 700.
Wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's a big change, but they have a great sense of humor.
It's like they have a different word for everything.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah. I had a hard time keeping up with my streak back in the day. I tried to do it. Do you know what languages have you tried? I guess would be like, are you into like, have you like messed with all of them? Have you like tried them all out to see if one of them might be easier than the other?
That's a great question.
Semi-fluent in anything now, or?
Well, I have done Arabic, Spanish, and French.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I studied French in school. It was actually my undergraduate degree.
Yeah.
And I think maybe, I don't know if I mentioned that in the last one. Basically, I've always loved language. I think I would have studied linguistics if I knew it existed. So for me, Duolingo has been like a super interesting extra win.
Yeah.
But I started in Spanish because my husband studied a little Spanish. I thought it'd be fun to speak together. And it's just way more practical in Detroit. You actually would use it.
Same in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, everywhere. But then I studied French and I wanted to like really perfect it. So I switched over to French in the app. And I got really excited to see like, oh, I'm much more advanced in French. What is it going to look like, or how is it going to look different or feel different when you're at the advanced level?
Yeah.
And it's not right now. So that's something I have a personal little like, we should change that, you know? And what's neat is there's space for us to make recommendations for things like that.
That's cool.
It's really cool. It's part of why we ended up saying yes to this crazy merger, because we can have a big impact in an app that is already having an enormously big impact, you know, and actually like build some bridges between people in the world. I'm getting a little bit off topic from your question.
Yeah. How did you hear about us, Collin? The thing about like learning a new language is like whenever I do like Spanish or whatever, like I'm okay at it. I took it in high school. I live in Texas, you know, and my daughter is in Spanish immersion. I know a little bit. I'm not great at it, but I can get by a little bit. But then when you open up like Japanese, it's like, it's not just that you can't pronounce the things or you have to learn how to pronounce the things. You have to learn the alphabet.
Yeah.
Like, that's so crazy. Like, how much harder that must be. I don't know if you've tried that one in particular, but I haven't. But I can't even imagine how you start on something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Arabic was similar in that it's just a totally new alphabet, and they just start you small. They start really easy. And actually, it reminds me of Duolingo also has an app for little kids called ABC that actually teaches them. Yeah, and so even my son with his little, 2-year-old chubby finger, it actually has a way to draw a letter, and you actually trace an M.
Neat.
And
I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah, I'll have to download that.
I need to learn the alphabet.
Fun. Yeah, you could learn the alphabet there.
I know.
And yeah, it's similar when you're learning a language that's totally different. And it kind of blows my mind to think about the fact that they have to have, let's say, learning Arabic, but also from English, from Russian, from Portuguese.
Oh, I never thought about it that way.
Right.
Wow.
Gosh, that's
enormous project.
How do they? I'm assuming they have a ton of experts, but oh my gosh, like, that's a lot of people to have on staff to do that kind of thing. I never thought about that.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it was really interesting. We've gone to Pittsburgh a couple times, and the way they do lunch is just like in one big class, like one big room, and they encourage people to just sit with someone random. Like, it's totally fine.
We do that at camp.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah.
Change places.
Change places. You got to mix it up.
Right.
And I sat next to a guy who was like he had been a French professor, and now he's a content creator, basically, of like French language. Yeah, and they just have like language experts, teaching experts.
Amazing.
Yeah, all kinds of brilliant people.
So what's your day-to-day like now? What are you doing specifically?
Yeah, it's not super dissimilar from how things were at Gunner. After the pandemic, staying home Mondays and Fridays.
Right.
Coming in Tuesday through Thursday. Yeah, we often, have check-in meetings. I would say Zoom, having online calls is a little more common because we're all in different offices. They're very strict about, you take an hour for lunch.
That's nice.
Yes, I mean, the work-life balance is incredible. Don't work longer than 8 hours, and one of those hours is your lunch hour.
I see. Well, that's always good.
It's so good. They're so supportive of families and parents and everything. So yeah, they try to keep artists working on one main project at a time. But then, so yeah, we could be working on an sort of like an ad or a promo. We did like a New Year's promo where I think it was like 60% off, but it was actually just, we had free reign to have this owl flying through these buildings at night with like reflective fireworks in the sky and stuff. And that ended up being this kind of painterly 3D thing. And sometimes it's actually animations of how things move within the app. Yeah, so there's all kinds of projects going on.
How do you, day to day, I guess, I don't know how much VR sculpting you're doing anymore, but how do you integrate like some of the things that you want to do into these types of things? You find opportunities to sneak in a technique or a new tool or something that you want to work with?
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because one of our big stipulations for Gunnar joining Duolingo was protecting some time to explore.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have happened otherwise, because they wanted to bring the Gunnar magic, is what the CEO, Luis, said.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, when it comes down to it, I think we thought Gunnar magic comes from being able to just play. And
Right.
often the shorts we would make and the exploratory things we would put on Instagram often were trying out a new tool, photogrammetry, sort of machine learning type of things, trying to do all 3D, something like that, or just a story that made us laugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're protecting that and actually making a new account. At least right now it lives on Instagram. It's called Inhouse. So inhouse.duolingo is our Instagram handle. And right now we just put a couple of things up just to get started. Most of them are Duolingo related, and there's one little teaser of that bird that's not. So that's kind of the reverse of what it's going to look like. It's going to be mostly unbranded, but then also have some Duolingo branded content in it as well. Yeah, this is a little behind the scenes there. And the idea is it's going to reduce burnout. It's going to let people try out directing in a really low stakes environment. If someone wants to actually, like, I'm not a creative director, but I kind of want to direct something. Having a varied creative diet, we think, is really important for, I don't know, bringing new artists into the scene. So basically divergent thinking, and then the idea is eventually things will come back together convergently and would feed into Duolingo, which is fine, but it's just we're trying to preserve this place to play.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's so cool.
It is.
Thanks.
It is important to be able to experiment with things.
Yeah.
You know, the Camp Mograph thing, even with the astronaut guy, that's definitely an experiment, you know, and it's fun to do that.
I mean, Dave does
ideas.
love puppetry. He
I
has
love
for
puppets.
a very long time.
I need some puppets. But, you know, doing something like that, and, like, it's, you know, he's got an AI voice and all of that. It's like, hey, let's try this thing, and it's easy to do and gives you ideas for, you know, potential other ways you could use the technology, and especially like AI voice and stuff. Are there any AI things that you're working on there right now or experimenting with?
Yeah, people are definitely interested in it, especially because, like we talked about, there are so many programs within the app, like Portuguese from Japanese, from English. You know, seriously, it's like just it takes off how many things there are. So there's little ways where we're trying to have AI. Like, we just launched actually a new tier of the app called Duolingo Max. It kind of looks like little dominatrix owl. It's kind of more, it's a little more like deluxe looking, but that actually uses AI to explain what was wrong. So
interesting.
You can actually be like, hold on, wait, why did I get that wrong?
Yeah.
And the AI is so beautifully, like, it's just a really good use for this in particular. I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that was not by Duolingo people, by the way, but the friends that designed it. No, it's actually, the idea is it kind of is down below. It's like in the phone. So we just worked on the branding for this. I didn't personally. Okay. It was actually a pretty even collaboration between people in Pittsburgh and then previously Gunnar people. So that was like pretty wonderful to rebrand this, but
that's super cool. What an interesting way of doing that too.
It's powered by GPT-4.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
that's
so
really cool.
At a time where you're like, you can keep saying like, no, I don't understand, you know, explain a little bit better. And it's pretty dang cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not to divert from the conversation, but you know, GPT-4 is
it's spectacular.
It's so cool seeing the stuff that they're coming out with. Like I've been playing in preparation for NAB in Vegas, I've been playing Pai Gow on my phone a lot, And so
and EJ.
like I wanted to like test out certain simulations, of like betting and stuff on different things. And so I went into ChatGPT and I was like, hey, do a simulation if I was to bet this and always play the house way, blah, blah, blah. Do that 1,000 times, And so then it would start like, this is what you won, this is what you lost, blah, blah, blah. And then it did it 1,000 times. And it would say, this is what you ended up, this is how much you spent, this is how much you won, this is what your total at the end of that 10,000 or whatever.
And Fred
so I do that with roulette
out.
as well, and I'd be like, all right, bet on this row, run it 1,000 times, see what happens.
Wow.
That's pretty
crazy.
incredible. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It is, and there's always some fear around it from artists. We've been, I mean, obviously understandable in a lot of cases. And because we have all of these specific little lessons that we want to make also within the app, sometimes a lesson will be something specific, like, is Max wearing red pants? And there's like an illustration of a guy in red pants or whatever. And that's not like necessarily the most exciting illustration to do. So there are people sort of testing out how we could train AI on just the Duolingo previously, just our styles, like not actually Midjourney pulling from other people in the world.
Right.
To see if we can outsource a little bit of the busy work to AI. So it's just something people are checking out. It's not something necessarily in practice yet, but we're trying to see how we can save our time for the fun, really creative stuff.
Yeah.
Byron wants to know if you have a winning strategy, though, and are we gambling this weekend?
We are for sure,
yes.
yes. But I do not have a winning strategy. The winning strategy is get lucky.
Here's the thing: you need to keep that thread going, and be updating that thread with ChatGPT, and then on site you say, "What do I do? Here's what's going on. What do I do right now?"
But you can't have your phone out at a table.
No, not at a table. That's true. But maybe we could do something with the horses. Do you think we could use GPT-4 to help us with the mechanical horses?
Maybe, but the thing, they just go so fast. You can't type in everything.
But could we start feeding it stats? Just watch and feed stats, and then like see which ones are winning.
And then we get kicked out, and we can't even stay in our own hotel.
Oh,
because we're winning too much.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
Better watch out.
If we get to that point, I think we'll just say, all right, and we'll go do it at another place. And I mean, there's plenty of casinos to go use GPT-4 at.
If it's anyway.
I mean, if it's winning us money, we'll just
from the conversation.
Anyway, a lot of people are very weird about AI. Some people hate it, some people love it, and some people are indifferent. I consider myself, I love it, but I am kind of indifferent in that I understand why people hate it, but I don't think it's going away, and I'm using it. I'm not saying I'm not going to use it because reasons. I think one of the hard things to do is to take the word AI out of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, because, it is AI, but it's just, I don't know if I said this last week or not, but it's advancements in technology either way, right? If we never use the term AI in any of this, right? AI, we're not calling it that. That terminology is out the window. We're not calling it intelligence or giving it this, like, this label of, this is
you're giving
a separate
it, like,
thing.
Almost like
having a brain.
Humanity
or
something like that.
If we just said this is another advancement in technology, and we said, hey, this thing comes out and it's just better than Google. It's a new version of Google that's better. Would we have the backlash of dick or jabs, or would people be a little more willing
people are
to
focusing
accept?
Too much on the intelligence part and not the artificial part.
Yeah, I don't
spooky.
know. It's a tough thing, and I hope that people aren't to the point where, like, you're canceled if you use AI, because I don't think that you're going to get anywhere not using AI the rest of your life. I don't think you have a career in this if you are not willing to use AI in any way.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a part. It's going to be there in the next 20 years. That's all it's going to be, right? Even if we're the ones manipulating it, it's going to be there.
I'm hoping that there's always going to be a place for, the handmade craft of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
That's valuable. That's more value. Mm-hmm. It's got, a person behind it. Yeah.
It does. Yeah. But I think there's always going to be, actually, I've wanted to do a test of if you took a bunch of footage and had an AI edit together a short film and had humans edit together short films and just play them for people, who would win? Who would brains that way? And even if AI gets more and more used, we're going to have to basically be like quality control.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think the solution is burying your head in the sand, unfortunately. But I also agree that it can be really hurtful. And what's the use of technology if it ends up hurting a lot of people?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like when, automobiles were the new symbol of freedom, and there were people that didn't want to have seatbelts because they were or speed limits,
Mm-hmm.
Don't fence me in. I'm freedom in my car going 150 miles an hour.
I'm a sovereign
I can kill
citizen.
everyone if I want to.
Yeah.
And the same with early internet stuff. It's weird, but I think there's ways to get seatbelts and some speed limits and just think this through a bit.
Mm-hmm. Not be stealing people's art completely, stealing their style, any of that. Mm-hmm. And the other thing about it too is let's take the part out of AI where it's taking her jabs, okay? If AI was just there and it's making its own art, how does that change in any way your ability to be an artist? Not a for hire artist, not somebody who works and does 3D for a living, but just that pure word artist. It does not change your ability to art.
It does and it doesn't. I think it could also change where opportunities are, actually making money or I think when that AI piece from Midjourney won an award, that was early on. It was 2021. And I actually have used Midjourney a lot, and I respect how hard it is to get the prompt really dialed in.
Right.
It is hard, but I don't think it's as hard as making a painting, making a spectacular image. And if a door closes to somebody, to somebody who had used AI, that shifts the landscape,
But hopefully they can find a way to then utilize it, because AI doesn't take away my ability to put a cube into Cinema.
Yes.
And start working on a project. And I guess that's the art part of it I'm talking about. It doesn't stop me from doing something that I love. I feel like it can help me do something I love. It's the bad parts that we're trying to figure out. Is there a way to take anyone who has been disadvantaged by it and be like, hey, guess what? This is going to help your career even more, actually.
Yeah. I think it definitely can. I enjoy using it for mood boards. Kind of generating that. It's a little troubling, again, using Midjourney of what it's trained on. I really hope that can change. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to move the mark on what is wasting time as an artist too. If we were to hang out with Michelangelo, he would have spent so much time mixing pigments to make oil paint and stuff, and you don't do that now. You have somebody else do that. So
use the eyedropper.
Yeah, I don't even use real paint anymore. But yeah, I think that it is going to change in terms of what you can offload to your new digital assistant, your little robot.
Right.
So that's my optimistic view.
Every client that I have worked with over the past year since Midjourney came out, almost every single job that I've done was let's recreate some stuff that we've seen in Midjourney.
Right.
You're kidding.
and do it in 3D. No,
Yeah.
almost every single
Had a
one.
lot
It's
of
like
that this year.
they will use these to create boards, and it's like, okay, we like this, this, this. Let's recreate it in 3D, you know, or in After Effects or whatever. Let's recreate it, and we'll animate it and make it look cool.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about that?
I felt fine.
Uh-huh.
The way, okay.
Well, because you're saying because it's based off of somebody's else's
I don't want to get
art.
canceled by this.
Right.
But like, you know, a lot of people, the way I understand it is, the way I think of it is, you know, you're showing AI and feeding it all this information. You know, you're feeding the computer a bunch of information and saying, okay, this is the Mona Lisa. It's of a person, you know, it's by this person, you know, this is the style. And so you're feeding it all that information, and then it's using that information to create a new thing unto itself, saying, I'm using these techniques the same way a human would do it. They can just feed them a lot more information all at once, you know? But like, I don't have issue with them. They're basically kind of creating something new in a way, but then I am recreating it with my own take on it, you know? So like, it's not going to look exactly like what Midjourney gave me.
Right.
Just like I don't think Midjourney would do exactly what, as it was something that was input, you know, if that makes sense.
If you have a client, right, and they come to you and they say, we have a mood board, we went to Google, we like these 5 pieces by Beeple, we love that style, okay, but we want you to design like a video of like a house, but it's in the style of Beeple, so here's a video we like of the house, okay? Now, all that Midjourney is doing in that case, if they were to prompt that, is to get those words and phrases mixed together and have an output, which they are not going to use, but they're going to give to you and say the same exact thing. It needs to look like Beeple and have a house in it and whatever. Your result is probably going to be very similar to what they would have done with a Google image style board. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where like this gray area happens for me. Because at what point does it become not okay to use someone as a reference as a style board? I get that it's using it to building your empire off of other people's art. That's a different thing. But as far as the using, you know, it's such a hard thing.
It's such a fine
I don't know
line.
what to think about it. I don't know how to feel about it.
It's tough. It's kind of like the whole fair use stuff that came up. I'm thinking of 2008, you know, Shepard Fairey using that image of Obama, photograph someone else took. And people were trying to quantify how much he changed it. What percentage you have to change something for it to be yours again. And so, yeah, this is just that times a million, you know, this whole
and, you know,
question.
I do have issue with them training the AI on artwork that isn't necessarily theirs to train it on.
Right.
You know,
that's the,
to me,
you know,
that feels morally wrong, you know?
Right.
Like if you're training something, you need to be training it on stuff that people approve. And I get that part of it.
Because your brain can do that. Your brain can think of a Beeple style house. So if you put it into a machine, some people's
That's true.
can't.
Some people's can't. Yeah.
And so they go to Midjourney and they, you know, but like, so is it
But the
different
thing is,
because your
like-
imagination, this computer did it instead of a computer made out of metal? Like it's more about the business aspect of it, right? Somebody profiting off of it.
Who's profiting? Yeah, I think the most problematic uses of things like Midjourney are when you have to type in somebody's name to get a particular style.
Yes.
You know, that's like, that's a bad sign. If you're using it and you're really tied to someone's name, I don't know. It's tough though, because artists have always been influenced by other artists. You can trace it through, you know.
Here's the thing that I find interesting is that so many people are getting upset over, you know, Midjourney profiting off of using other people's images, you know, Yet that's what Instagram's been doing this entire time.
It's true.
You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not really much of a difference in a more morality view, because, you know, Midjourney's stealing people's images and then creating new art in order to sell subscriptions.
Or get ad revenue or whatever.
Yeah, but Instagram is just trying to drive people using your art.
Right. How much ad revenue has Twitter and Instagram gotten off of Beeple?
Yeah, in order to pay for, you know, to get people to advertise on their site. It's no different. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess just on the personal level of any individual artist, you know, if someone creates an image with Midjourney and then puts it out there as like, this is mine, I did this.
Right.
100%.
But it was trained, you know, like that's
I am
the
with
most
you. That has
problematic.
Very big moral implications.
Right.
You know.
The only thing I use AI art for is to get ideas, like brainstorm, or if it's something just like
Green needle.
ultra simple, right? Like, what did you say? Oh, brainstorm.
You said brainstorm. I said green
needle. Yeah, very good, very good. The other thing I use it for is like something real simple. You know, like I just need like a picture of a chair or something. You know what I'm saying? Or a texture, or you know.
We used it for
camp.
Yeah, I mean, we use it all over the place for camp. You know.
Yeah.
Just like throwing up random weird images and stuff like that. That's always really fun.
But it wasn't necessarily a style. We didn't say, "Oh, do Beeple style camp." We don't, you know, that's not what we're going for. And I don't think I've ever used a name like that unless I'm being funny. Like,
yeah, same.
A Beeple style Taco Bell,
when
just to be funny.
When I tried doing a Beeple style whatever, it ended up not looking like him at all.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. Well, I just learned that you can actually link to an image in Midjourney. This is probably old news to you guys, but then actually riff off of it.
Yeah.
So I was trying to blend my artwork with my friend Sheer, trying to see like if our art had a baby, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
We're both like, oh my gosh, I love this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think, hopefully the more leaning towards training stuff on your own we can get, the better.
Yeah.
In terms of ownership. And I don't totally know how people do that. I think it was Stable Diffusion. I guess there's a way to train it on your own.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Stable Diffusion, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can do a lot more of like the mixing. You can do the reverse. Well, you can do that on Midjourney now, I think, too. The reverse prompts to where it will analyze an image and tell you what it is. That really helps. But yeah, it's the opt-in process, I think, that really is going to become a thing. You know, opting in for your art. Because, like you said, Matt, Instagram's profiting off of your images when you put them on Instagram, but at least you're putting them up there.
That's true. You are the one who's putting it up there.
Yeah. So it's so complicated.
But you should still have that that opportunity to say, do not use my information in advertising. You know?
Well, then they'll say, okay, don't have an account, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hard legal line. It's a hard, it's a gray area in everything as far as being an artist, morality, the whole thing. I don't know how we got on this tangent of AI.
It was me. I'm sorry. I diverted us
fault.
for like 20 minutes.
No, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's I just heard about a program I think called Glaze, Glaze, that actually you can use as like a cloak on top of your image to obscure it a little bit from AI, like actually being able to use your image correctly in AI. It somehow jumbles the style.
That's interesting.
Mimicry? Yeah.
Okay, hold on, y'all. I have to use the restroom. Y'all keep going. Not hold on. Actually, keep going. I'll be back.
Oh, fine tune.
Matt, did you find it? Is it called Glaze?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it uses Glaze.
There's math somehow?
For example, Stable Diffusion today can learn to create images in someone's style after it sees just a few pictures. However, if Carla uses our tool to cloak our artwork by adding tiny changes before posting them, then Stable Diffusion will not learn their specific art style. So you're using an AI to change it to where it doesn't look like yours, but
it's like you can still put an image up, and to the human eye it looks the same, but somehow under the surface it's different.
Interesting.
I wish I understood more about how that works.
Right, same. I don't know. That's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. A cloak layer to your digital art.
Right, the cloak. It sounds very dramatic.
Yeah.
It's just, it seems like the beginning of this kind of like, tit for tat cat and mouse thing of just like what's going to happen. Some people just don't want to participate, and I totally understand that. Mm-hmm. And it's scary to, you want to have an online presence, but does that mean
I know a lot of artists who will not post anything online because they just don't want their stuff stolen. And this was even before AI art. They don't want anyone, taking their art. They hold it very close to them, but they also struggle with getting work,
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not willing to put their stuff out there.
Yeah. That's so hard. I mean, my mom still has asked me, why do you do things for free and put them on Instagram for free? And like, well, you gotta, first of all, it's something I enjoy doing, but you gotta show up, otherwise no one's gonna know you're there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. To jump back to Duolingo, to your studio life, let me ask you how, so I've been doing, just use my own experience as a reference. I started working for a studio for I had like a 3 or 4 month contract, and they're a really big company, like 6,400 or 6,500 employees, Wow. And it's been really hard to get like HR and corporate to. So they lost my paycheck. My paycheck got lost in the mail, and having them to reissue it has been hard with a bigger company, versus when I was working for a smaller company, I could just walk into HR, say, hey, it got lost in the mail. Can you issue me a new one right now? And they're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
How has the culture changed? Moving from like a smaller studio onto one with a much bigger, set of employees.
Yeah, I would say some sides of that have made life easier, and some have made it a little more complicated. Mm-hmm. I mean, at Gunner, you go to Ian or Nick for creative stuff, creative direction, and Brandon was our catch-all HR guy. He was the producer. And we also had KP join too. But it was just such a small team. You could go directly to somebody. And now I would say it's not as bad as a check being lost in the mail, right? For sure. Everybody's super responsive, and but we have this whole line of people. Ian and Nick not being our boss anymore. We joke around all the time about you're not my boss anymore. You can't tell me what to do.
Right. You're not my real dad.
But you're not my real dad. We just have, just this new grid of people that are just fascinating. And there's people who design the team of designers. And so for me, it's been a question of figuring out who to go to about what.
Yeah, I could see that.
New people come out of the woodwork, and they're often fascinating, brilliant, kind people too. So it makes it a lot easier to be like, what are you doing again?
Yeah.
And so that's been a while, and I feel like I might never stop asking. I'm sorry again. Let's zoom out. This is related to this. Okay. All right. Got it. There's product designers. There's brand designers. But then there's the design studio and the art and animation, which is our little chunk of it. It's been a lot to learn.
Yeah. So when it comes to hiring, are they hiring? Are y'all able to hire as well, or does it need to specifically go into did you say Philadelphia?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, but that's the state.
Right. Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, right?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, the Pittsburgh office versus like the Detroit office, or is it like, hey, we need a few more people here locally? I mean, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with that or anything. It's just an interesting, dynamic that could work there.
Yeah, honestly, that's not really something I know a ton about.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I know that basically we just got this flood of people and we're trying to work it all out.
Sure.
But yeah, for hiring, I think it would go through Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just like the headquarters.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we could make requests and stuff, and we're hoping to make Duolingo have more of a gravitational pull for great artists. And just be a place where really exciting things are happening and people are kind of more aware of what's happening. Like in our in-house Instagram, we're going to be posting a lot of like studio culture stuff, like in stories and highlights and stuff. What does it feel like to work there? And make that kind of an open book. And showing sort of the varied diet that we're going to have artistically. We're hoping to sort of draw more artists that way.
I'm interested to hear your opinions, having gone through this, working for a studio that got acquired by a bigger company. I would love to hear your opinions on some of these, because this has been happening. I want to say that like the Duolingo Gunner acquisition was one of the first. And then we started hearing about like Doodles with Golden Wolf, and then other studios just merging together.
Yep.
I would love to hear your opinion on that, having come from that.
It sounds like it's a little different in different situations, so that's something I don't know if I can speak to holistically.
Sure.
But yeah, I know. The Golden Wolf Doodles thing, I think that Golden Wolf is still doing other client work as well.
Okay. That's interesting.
That was my understanding.
Because that sounded kind of like a weird pairing.
Right.
Right. It's like, what?
I thought so too.
Yeah.
It's just funny. You never know, what projects people are working on sort of behind the scenes and stuff. Which other ones are you thinking of specifically, Matt?
I don't know.
There were two studios that just merged.
There were a bunch of studios that I think... Like two of them merged into one, and then another group of studios just merged into one. Yeah. I don't know.
But people are like kind of acting scared about that. I feel like I've seen some people that kind of act like they're nervous about that. And it's like, why are you nervous that studios are merging? Is it because you think that they're having problems on their own? Therefore, they need
it could
to merge?
also become like this monopolistic type thing where you get multiple studios merging, and or an oligopoly type thing where you get enough of these big studios where they refuse to pay any rates above a certain level, and then artists end up getting screwed because of it.
Right.
I don't know. That's where I worry. I feel like artists should always be paid their fair rate and stuff, and I hate seeing studios take advantage of people like that.
Yeah, I can tell you for sure that the Gunner Duolingo merger did not come from a place of scarcity or fear.
That kind of is understandable.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's
anything that you guys that people have said or thought or wondered, like we have too. It was just it was this big change. But yeah, it really, we were getting less and less excited for years sometimes about some of the projects that were coming in. Thinking about like the why behind things, there's just like a lot of companies that are doing icky things in the world. And maybe as the pandemic too, it just kind of like, we're just thinking a lot about our why.
Right.
Yeah. So for us, it was just like this funny one-off opportunity of jumping in with this company that is like a really good purpose. So I mean, we were doing we were very lucky that we did well through the pandemic and everything too. So, but yeah, it is strange to see names too that you're used to changing. And I know people saw Gunner as this little fighter coming from a Midwest town, you know, but you can still do that. Like anybody who's out there who wants to do that, if we could do it, you could do it. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. We're sort of hoping too that what we create within Duolingo could be something that happens more often too. If artists are supported to make changes within the company, but then even still have room for exploration. And yeah, the word in-house, actually, it's kind of a joke because it's kind of a bad word, you know, like it's kind of means like maybe like B team.
Right.
You know,
right, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like, I mean, Gunner started from people didn't really believe in Detroit. People didn't really believe in the Midwest. It was kind of just like, oh, these little guys coming up.
You're not in LA, what?
Yeah. Right, yeah. And kind of just like growing from the ground up. And I wasn't there when it was founded, but I know Ian and Nick have said this. Yeah, it was just like, can we grow this from sort of this team that people don't necessarily believe in? So we're kind of doing that again, just within a company. Like, can you make it a really healthy, exploratory, creative place to work in-house at a company? Yeah. Yeah, if you come in with rules set of what things are going to be like, and you have a really supportive environment, I think it is possible.
That's really interesting that you mentioned the in-house type stuff, because yeah, when I have worked in-house at a studio, it became frustrating when they would, when they would use an external source, for like some of their stuff, and it's like, well, why are you doing that? I can do that.
Yeah, I could have done that.
Yeah. Yep. And sometimes people's hands get tied because you're just not allowed to explore. Honestly, I think, when they brought the Gunner team on, like I said, they wanted to bring the Gunner magic. And so we think people need to have some space to play and try new things. I mean, already we have these in-house projects that basically come in like, if you picture a jar, this is like a time management thing called the pickle jar theory, where you put in the big rocks first and you feel like it's full, but then you put in gravel, and like the smaller rocks fill in. There's always more to do, but you put in the big rocks first. So that's fine. The bigger rocks will be what we need to get done for the app, which are also interesting, exciting projects. But then you realize, I have a couple days. These people haven't gotten back to me yet. You're kind of waiting around. What do you want to make?
Right.
Like that's the time. And then like, oh, I kind of want to learn Rive, but I don't really have an idea of like what it would be within the app. Hey, can you illustrate something for me? And we'll make it like parallax in the app or something. And so I think if people can have space to do that, then you stay competitive. Yeah. And actually it strengthens sort of what you're making within the company too.
Do you have to learn a little bit about like app development and stuff too?
That's a good question.
I sort of am just having a crash course. We all are learning a lot just by the company's really open about what we're doing. We have these meetings every week where they talk about like what we're doing in engineering and all sides of running an app. So it's not specifically something we had to take a course in. But yeah, we're basically working alongside these engineers where we push them as to what's possible, and they're like, "Oh, I've never tried that before." And we're like, "Let's try it." Yeah. So yeah, a little bit of trial by fire.
That's fun. That's really fun. I love that y'all get the opportunity to be creative and kind of do your own thing within the brand. That's so much fun, because normally, if I worked for a studio or something like that, it's like they're just constantly throwing work at me.
Right.
There's no time for that. There's barely ever any time for R&D. One of my favorite. I've been doing a lot of work for Swordfish in San Francisco lately. Matt Silverman, we had him on the show. He's great. what's great is when they would bring me on, they'd be like, all right, here's the project that we've got. Let's spend a couple days like doing some R&D, figuring out the best course of action. And I found that it's so much better to have that time ahead of time to be able to figure out the bugs that you would normally figure out in a project, you know, and figure out a great workflow, because then you get it done just so much quicker, I feel like, you know. I don't know.
You actually were working with that kind of an issue, Matt, like recently.
Yeah, I was.
You know, and
yeah.
You get, sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm going to do this project this way. And then 10 days later, you're like, why did I do this project this way? I should have done it another way.
That was not my fault. That was the Maxon thing. I love you guys at Maxon, but you know, you got a broken option in there.
But
you don't know about it.
Yeah, but mainly though not that I get that's a bad example, but to be able to do R&D ahead of time, to know, you know, is this going to screw me like 10 days from now when all of a sudden I get like project bloat, and all of a sudden, you know, the project gets too heavy or something because I've really pushed it beyond the means of what my CPU is capable of, or, you know, something like that. R&D is great for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I think that's the hope too for us, at least for this in-house stuff, which is not the majority of things that you would work on, by the way, but it is kind of like artistic R&D between two artists who maybe wouldn't work together, and that's the idea. It would kind of work out the kinks, and then often already with two projects, actually, something that we did in-house has bent back and informed something actually for the app. So yeah, it helps to think stuff through and play around ahead of time.
Tell us about Sync, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I hadn't seen this until today. Sorry.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, this was a film that we made when we were still Gunner. In 2002. It all takes place on this airplane, and this was kind of my baby, which was funny because we were rushing to make this before I gave birth to my son, Charlie. But this is a true story that happened to me in 2015, I think, and I wrote down the idea, and I always wanted to make it. So it's these three women who end up sitting together, and they're kind of annoying each other, and they're kind of disconnected, and yeah, something magical in the sky happens. But it's kind of this painterly style. We used absinthe for this. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, neat.
And that was in 2019. We were really experimenting, fighting with absinthe.
Oh, I see now. Okay, this makes sense.
You can see, and it's on top of 3D. The characters were animated in Maya, moved over to cinema for texturing and lighting.
Wow.
And then, hand-painted, a lot of hand-painted cell, like that water that you saw.
Yeah.
That was actually Handel Eugene's beauty shot. This was actually projected onto a mesh of a big a storm that we made in 3D. And then the frame rate changes right here from 12 to 24 frames a second, which was fun. And basically they hit a lot of turbulence and end up just doing this perfectly synchronized dance. So we ended up really using absinthe to blur the edges. You know, if you're doing a painting, somebody's edge of their body is a little blurred to the seat behind them. So if you're able to sort of scroll down on the actual website, you can see some of the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, I love that. That is great.
Thank you.
Wow.
You can see Rachel Reed did the character designs and a lot of the character animation. She's an amazing cell artist, and I don't know if people know this, but she's an incredible Maya 3D animator too.
How many cells did you end up painting per, like, I don't know, maybe per second or whatever? Because you only have to paint some of them with Ebb, right?
Well, right, with absinthe, yes.
Yeah.
But we would have to go back through and fade them in and out when they would sort of break. We would have to, for that one shot that you can see the sort of swipe over, I probably had to paint maybe 4 frames for that whole shot, paint the edges. But then there were shots like where she's running, her necklace is bouncing. That was frame by frame cell. Wow. And then I even painted her on the water, the slow motion. So that was cell at 24 frames a second. which took a long time. But yeah, we had an incredible team to work on this piece, and it premiered September 2022. Is that right?
Oh, wow.
When I was showing this film around, it was basically the month where we couldn't talk about what was happening with Gunner and Duolingo. So that was tough. So we kind of, this felt like, for me, a crescendo. You know, it was really exciting to be able to share this, sort of at the end of the Gunner era.
And tell us about Between Lines as well.
Yes.
Yeah, with Sarah Beth. That was something, it was, I think, the month before the pandemic. Rachel Reed, who was still Gunner, she and I both agreed to work on it. And we worked on it through the whole pandemic. This is an incredible film that did super well. It was illustrated by Sarah Beth, and it was actually all women who worked on it. And it was based on an experience of female bullying in middle school. These girls who were just terrible to her. And she shared that with the artists, and everybody's had some kind of experience with that. So it was kind of healing for everybody to come together and make this. So it was women all over the world, passing shots back and forth, collaborating on things. So it was actually a really lovely timing for this to be happening during the pandemic, because it was a little bit of a connection point with people.
What was this made in?
I would say there's a lot of cell and a lot of After Effects. I did the fish in 3D.
When you say cell, like, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, frame by frame. Yeah.
Okay. So you're just actually like, is it in Photoshop specifically, frame by frame?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
Some artists did more of that. I was more of a compositor, but then I did a lot of basically the 3D fish.
Okay.
So those were Cinema 4D. A lot of After Effects, compositing, I think most of these. But yeah, the women whispering. I realized that calling frame by frame animation cell was a little bit of a Gunnerism, that people don't necessarily do that. So when the artists who could actually do like the Disney animation.
Which is,
I think those fish jumping are, the transitions, I think, were roughed out in cell often.
Such a great respect for people who can do the cell stuff, the frame by frame.
Amazing. Yeah.
You know, it's so much work.
This is a gorgeous piece.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone needs to check it out. If you're listening and not watching, definitely check it out. It's so good.
And go through and look up the artists who are on it. I know if you go to Sarah Beth Morgan's Instagram, Wonderfall, she links to the artists who worked on it as well, so you can check it out. It was a great team.
Oh, and there's a whole behind the scenes as well. Here's the I won't go through the whole thing. I will bring it up on the screen. There's a lot of people who worked on this. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you been doing as much VR sculpting nowadays? Are you using it in your day-to-day? Are you doing it for fun? Like, what's the latest on that? Because I know before you were doing a lot of experimentation. You'd be doing like what, like maybe building something and then bringing it in. I'm trying to remember what the last example of that was, but.
Yeah, I know that I probably talked a lot about the blend titles and that sort of process. Starting something out in Cinema 4D, so it was sort of like locked to a camera the correct way. I would say through the pandemic. Keep saying that, but that really is the big reframe, since we spoke. I would say most of it is in my personal work, just using virtual reality stuff. We have a computer at work, and I think we're going to get back in and start using it more often. Just if we want to, make something quickly or something gestural. We have ideas about, I don't know. If you look at my Instagram, I think you have my little link below here. A lot of my personal stuff that I put up is still been drawn in virtual reality.
I'm looking it up here. Let's see.
Are you doing any painting stuff? lately?
A little bit, actually. Yeah, I took a class with the artist Kelly Anderson. If you don't know who she is, Kelli Anderson. She's an incredible paper artist. Oh yeah, that one's just Cell. Um, let's see. Yeah, the sort of the kid drawing.
There you go.
Yeah, that's been some sculpting. A lot of times I am drawing things in Tilt Brush because you can use an Oculus, like just their standalone headset for it. Yeah, I've been still jumping in there.
What about the stuff you did? Didn't you do some stuff in your house? Didn't you paint your house?
Oh, right. Yeah. The reason why I brought up Kelly Anderson's, I took a class with her where we're actually manipulating paper folding. And I did a little bit of AR stuff with that. Actually, if you go up to the top to the highlights, this is kind of janky. The second example that says experiments, I'm making one of these right now that's a little bit more fleshed out. But so this was, she taught us how to make this thing called the jitterbug. But then I used AR to actually animate on top of it. So the one I'm, thanks. The one I'm making now is actually, oh, I can just grab it real quick. It's a big one that I'm going to be sort of animating according to the way that they actually move.
Neat.
So I'm making
come back full screen. So we
Dude,
can
that's
see.
like
There we go. Whoa.
That's like Mograph IRL.
I know.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, depends. So I want to see how quickly it can recognize the motion and see if I can animate something that continues the motion of the, the blocks.
So
what is doing the AR portion of that?
Yeah, I used an app called Artivive, Artivive.
Right.
Yeah, which basically, you could actually, it's meant to be for like a painting. You could hold up your phone, and actually in the phone is where you see the animation.
Okay. I've been looking for something like this without having to like really get into like, an AR dev kit or something to make it work,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small company. I really enjoyed using them. Yeah.
Oh, that is
it's a
really
lot
cool.
fun.
That's so
All right.
cool.
I got to bookmark that and dig
So
into that
jealous
one.
that you're doing stuff like outside of work. know?
Yeah, especially just making little boxes. After putting a little kid to bed, it's actually pretty relaxing. You don't have to
That's.
think.
I've started calling it Workday 2. Is so you you have your normal work day. I get my kids off to school or off to daycare. I work until like 5 when I have to go pick them up from daycare. Then I spend from 5 till 8:30, 9 with them, and then start work day 2, where back on my computer and working and
The late
balancing
shift,
that parental life is difficult,
to say
It
the
is.
least.
to say the least. Yeah.
I know, but it's whatever artistic output you can squeeze out of yourself is like very meaningful and makes me feel like myself again.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. Yeah, I
hard.
always post things on Instagram. If I finish something at like 11 p.m., then I'm like, I'm ready to post it. And I don't wait until the next day when it's a much smarter time.
Right.
I'm just like, I don't know. I'm too excited. I just have to do it now.
Yeah.
Are you posting it for the likes or are you posting it for yourself?
Both.
To get it out there.
Right.
Like, I'm still here. Still a person.
She's posting it for the likes.
Ding.
Thank you for pronouncing my name right, by the way.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I remember that because you told me it's just like Facebook.
Yep.
Likes.
It's like, I got to change that. Just like online likes.
Just
right?
like, it's hearts on TikTok. I don't know. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very last
Thank
minute.
you for having me.
Yeah, it was good to catch up, and hopefully we'll be seeing you on this tour at some point when
That'd
we're
be
making
great.
the rounds, or maybe at a meetup somewhere, or maybe even Camp Mograph. Who knows?
Oh, that'd be
You know?
amazing.
Yeah. If people want to find you on the internets, where can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, at Collin Leix on Instagram. And the two
Like
L's.
spelled L-E-I-X.
Leix.
Yes.
Yep, and same for just my website, collinleix.com.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. And I think you're on our Slack, right?
I don't think
I don't
so.
remember. If not, we'll figure that out.
I'll send you an
Figure
invite.
that out.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
After we end
Yeah.
the live feed, we'll send you something here on Skype. So stay
Okay.
on the line for a minute, and we'll say
Okay,
we'll say
sounds
goodbye. And
Thanks for having me back. It's seriously wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Sorry we gotta be so rushed today, but we gotta get ready for that NAB though.
Gotta go get a haircut.
Yeah,
Clean out my
You
car.
guys have to do your laundry.
I know.
I
I
have to
need to
do
do
my
my laundry
laundry.
too.
I have to shave this ugly mess on my head, whatever that is. So I can look presentable. Got to put pants
Tomorrow night,
on.
I'm trying to get Dave to go to the Meow Wolf in Vegas. We need to do that.
If I go without Julie, I might be in trouble.
Just don't tell Julie.
Okay, I won't tell her. Oh wait, she's watching.
Yeah.
Whoops, too late. So we are really excited to see everybody in Vegas. Come hit us up, come chill, come meet new friends. And like we say every year, we didn't talk about the lineup from NAB from Maxon, but if you go to maxon.net under news, you can see all of the presenters that are going to be here, as we like to say, are new friends if we haven't met them before. Here's your list of new friends. So can't wait to see everybody. We're going to get out of here. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review. Subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb Feel the Bab 2020 shirt. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. The Render Things t-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee, Mograph blandishment shirt, and of course the That Render is Fire shirt, which you're only allowed to wear ironically, unless you're shams.
Yeah.
And of course, we're on Mograph.com, youtube.com/Mograph. Go to Mograph.com/TV to watch 24/7 Mography stuff. And check out a class at Mograph.com/classes. We also have a news section on our website. You can see a lot of great articles on there.
Yep.
Jace Hansen did some stuff for Top Gun. And there's a new article on that there, so check that out. It's really great. Very detailed. Talks about the FUI and things. And that's it. We're going to get out of here. Till next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Collin.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
Was I supposed to say that?
Yes, you were.
Yeah, that was good. You got it right. All right, stand by here 1 second.
We would have just stopped there.
Yeah.